March the 22nd, 2026. Guys, our president has issued two ultimatums. Both are coming due very close to tomorrow morning. But one is he kind of aimed it at Chuck Schumer, because what I saw last week was the Democrats were attempting to peel back the Funding Act. In other words, pick and choose, take ICE out, add the TSA at the airports and things like that. And the Republicans realized what they were doing and said no deal. But anyway, Trump has said now if by in the morning the Democrats have not allowed the spending bill to go through to fund TSA and the other projects involved, then he is moving ICE into the airports. Now, I guess that could be good and bad, because you'd have less ICE agents on the streets. But again, ICE is funded, so I guess you could hire as many as you wanted to. Think about that. They're funded until 2029, I think. And so it's kind of a moot point what the Democrats are doing anyway. They're just trying to destroy the nation. But so by in the morning, this first move will be TS agents in the airports, and this is what Trump is saying. If the radical left Democrats don't immediately sign an agreement to let our country, in particular our airports, be free and safe again, I will move our brilliant and patriotic ICE agents to the airports, where they will do security like no one has ever seen before, including the immediate arrest of all illegal immigrants who have come into our country, with heavy emphasis on those from Somalia. And guys, you can't blame them after what we've seen in Minnesota. He says these Somalians have totally destroyed, with the approval of a corrupt governor, attorney general, and Congresswoman Omar, the once great state of Minnesota. He says, I look forward to seeing ICE in action at airports. Make America great again, President Donald J. Trump. Now, I'm sure that the Democrats they're kind of huddled together in their rat nest and trying to figure out the best way to approach it. Now, I'm sure the fact that, like I said, you're moving ICE agents off the streets into the airports would be a plus for the Democrats. But when you start talking about arresting their illegal voters and the people that are grifting billions of dollars from us hardworking taxpayers, then that's a different thing altogether. Now, the other move that Trump has made, he told Iran that they had 24 hours, and that should be up about the same time because it happened late yesterday afternoon. You have 24 hours to open the Straits of Hormuz, or we're going to take out every one of your oil fields, including the big ones. Now, he's also being pushed, I noticed in one article, by a certain group. They didn't really mention the names. It just said he's being pushed hard into continuing this bombing campaign. Of course, I'm sure it has nothing to do with Israel, but we know how that works. So we've got two things happening. Again, ICE could be moving into our airports if they don't pass a spending bill, which technically, since he said that yesterday, then there won't be a vote until Monday anyway. So by then, ICE may be, he's pretty good about keeping his word on certain things, but ICE may be already in the airports enforcing a vote, or either they may be there permanently. And then again, if we attack all of Iran's oil industry, it's going to leave the Iranian people pretty naked as far as some way to rebuild their country. And it's kind of, it's almost an act of desperation in that fact. It was supposedly to liberate the Iranian people and to stop the choke point of the Straits of Hormuz, right, guys? So Trump is getting frustrated. We talked about this. He may start to see, especially with messages from back home and different people resigning and things like that, that the American people are not happy with this war, the way it's going down. We didn't have much to say about it to start with. And he's saying that he wants to open up the TSA because, guys, there are long lines at the airports. With the cost of fuel going up, those lines will eventually decrease on their own because the prices of tickets are going to go up, and there will be basically a ticket war among the airlines. But I really, to be honest with you guys, could care less about any of the airlines. Just saying, I've flown before, many years ago, flown across this nation, Los Angeles and different places to the East Coast also, and been there, done it. But it was a little different those days. It was just different. Now you've got a lot of crap going on everywhere. And, you know, I wouldn't mind seeing less chemtrails in the air, to be honest with you. I don't go anywhere my car won't take me, and I quit doing that a long time ago. When we go, we haven't been in a few years, but when we go to Phoenix, guys, and that area to see our grandkids, we drive. Because I don't like not having my horse. That's what I call it. Something happened, I got to try to get a flight out or get to the airport or something. No, I just get in my truck and move. I like it like that. But again, I could care less if they shut every one of them down. Doesn't bother me at all. Again, less chemtrails or contrails, whatever they want to call them, would again be fine. Now, the situation in Iran, what will happen? Of course, you're going to have a lot of mess to clean up after it's over with if we bomb all of their oil facilities. And it will leave the Iranian people kind of in a bad shape as far as rebuilding. But how will Iran respond? Because we know we don't have all of their missiles. It's too much of a mountainous region, too many places to hide in caves and hide missiles and everything else. And we now know they can reach 2,200 miles with some of their big missiles. They tried to hit Diego Garcia. Some say they didn't make it. And that's great, but the point is they have the capability of reaching that far in any direction we know now. And we may not know what all they have, but how will they respond to that? If we start attacking, guys, think about this. All of their oil facilities, they're going to reach out to all the surrounding nations again and start attacking their infrastructure because Iran realizes where the world's oil, petroleum, natural gas comes from. It's from the Middle East. Not all of it, but a good bit of it, enough to cripple most of the planet. And even the nations like us that doesn't rely on the oil that much, because we have our own, it's still tied into the world economy. And that does affect every one of us. So how will they respond? That's going to be very interesting to see. Will it start tonight? You know, we're different time zones by 7.5 hours from Tehran to New York. They are 7.5 hours ahead of us there. So, you know, the news is delayed or it's night there and day here. But guys, this could bring about an extremely large conflict. And because I mentioned, let me back up just a hair, mentioned the fact that a lot of the nations are angry at Israel for taking strikes on the SARS oil field that they shared with Qatar, right? Half of it's Iran, half of it's Qatar, out in the Gulf of Persian Gulf there. And Israeli hit it without permission, and it started a big deal, right? They started firing back and forth. Israel got hit with a rocket last night, 100 wounded. They don't really report much else than that. But so it's tit for tat going back and forth right now. But if this event happens, this taking out of the rest of their oil fields, starting with their biggest ones, then they're going to reach out hard. Now, how will the rest of the nations react to that? Will it be, as we were seeing yesterday, they were starting to say, Israel, you really screwed this up, thank you. And will that happen tomorrow, or will the scapegoat be, or possibly the proper scapegoat in this case, will it be the U.S.? And we know they have proxies. We know they have people in the U.S. already, thanks to Joe Biden. Really, it's been going on much longer than that, but it got really out of control. So once you put the mullahs and that group all the way back into the corner, what will they do? And again, how will the rest of the nations react as we apparently are headed to a major war, possibly a biblical war? But we're watching it, guys. I just wanted to talk about those two things this morning and bring your attention to them. Most of you have probably seen that. But I'm going to be looking for updates today on the situation because that is crucial. The TSA thing it's important, but it doesn't even compare to the Iranian situation right now, because that's going to be a worldwide event before it's all said and done. We're watching it, guys. You watch it. It's a heads up. Be safe.